Good evening and welcome to this special election edition of News Scene. I'm Eamon Long.
And I'm Alice Kim. Thank you for joining us. The 2010 midterm elections took center stage this week across the country. In San Diego, 2 council seats were up for grabs and 2 board of supervisors seats were at stake. Voters also cast ballots for various propositions with some surprising results.
It was a night filled with chants and cheers, anticipation, and victory. Businesswoman Lori Zaff took home the win, replacing outgoing city councilwoman Donna Fry.
It was a really, long campaign and a hard-fought battle. But, tonight it's kind of like a wedding. We've been preparing for many months.
Ron Roberts, the current county supervisor for District 4, defeated his opponent Stephen Whitburn and will stay put for another term.
A lot of supporters, and they've been working hard for months, so I told them, enjoy yourselves tonight.
Bill Horn, who ran against Vista City Councilman Steve Gromke, will be joining Roberts representing District 5.
Well, Bill Horn has been a supporter of kids organizations for so many years and is just a generally very awesome, moral man, and we love him very much. So we come down and help him out every year.
As for city propositions, in the spotlight was Prop D that would have raised the sales tax in San Diego, was not passed.
Do not expect some magic wand to come along to stop these cuts. There will be cuts in the budget. It's going to happen.
Well, I'm disappointed. I think we were very honest with the public and letting them know what cuts we would have to make. We have to go back now and produce a budget that takes into account we have a $72 million deficit and make those cuts.
Meantime, Sanders says while the budget cuts are still unsolved, he is impressed to see the voter turnout, which only shows that people are out there caring about the community and its changes.
Voters are also rejecting Proposition J, a proposed parcel tax on all properties within the San Diego Unified School District boundaries.
37 states cast votes for governors and members of the House and Senate. Here in San Diego, Democrats celebrated some victories, but also suffered defeat. Mike Willey has more.
Celebrations were short-lived at the W Hotel downtown.
Here in California, the Democrats are winning.
Acting more like soldiers who won the battle but lost the war. Republicans had more victories across the nation this week than the 2006 and 2008 elections combined.
It looks like the results are in, and it is time now for Californians to unite behind the common cause of turning around this state that we love.
A more reflective blue party readies for new change on Capitol Hill as Republicans regain control of the House, but not the Senate.
We won with independence, but in the end, we could not overcome the registration advantage that Democrats have, and in particular in LA County. I'm not going to engage in a game of coulda, woulda, shoulda. I am proud of every moment of this campaign.
He will be good for the state of California. I'm betting everything I got on him again.
This gubernatorial race goes down in history as the most amount of money ever spent. Billionaire and former eBay CEO Meg Whitman spent $140 million of her own money, and former Hewlett-Packard CEO Carly Fiorina laid out $6.7 million from her own war chest. But in the end, the money didn't pay off, as California voters stayed with incumbency and experience.
We have to live within our means. We're going to move as much government and responsibility as we can to the local level, and no taxes unless the people make clear that that's what they want, and they express that in a vote.
Mike Willey, News Scene.
Senate races in Washington, Colorado, and Alaska went late into the night. Democrats scored victory in both Washington and Colorado. No winner has been declared yet in Alaska.
It's official. Republicans have taken control of the House. Nancy Pelosi is out as House Speaker. It looks like that job will go to John Boehner of Ohio. Alicia Prostochimi spent the evening with Republicans in San Diego as they witnessed the shift in power.
November 2nd was the time for all voters to come out and cast their votes, not only for propositions, but for the House and Senate elections too. Here at the Republican Election Party, many people are waiting around anxiously to find out who will be elected. Results are still coming in and voting is still continuing in the western states. The extent of the Republican takeover of the House is still to be determined. At the Golden Hall, many supporters, signs, and chanting and cheering for the Republican Party, especially Nick Popedich. As the clock ticks, more and more people fill up the Republican Party at downtown Johnny Brown's. Roaring and cheering, watching numbers in the House go higher and higher, but not so great for the Senate.
I'm very glad that the Republicans have been able to recapture the House of Representatives in Washington. However, I'm very disappointed that Carly Fiorina lost her bid to become our next senator.
One by one, all the Republican congressmen give speeches about the long journey ahead.
We can provide the quality of life that San Diegans deserve.
They also spoke out about the goals which they hope to accomplish for the state and local community.
To stop the spending, cut the taxes, limit the government, live within your means, just like all of us have to do right now.
And last but not least, a huge disappointment as gubernatorial candidate Meg Whitman concedes to political rival Jerry Brown. With photojournalist Elias Ruelas, this is Alicia Prostochimi, News Scene.
Meg Whitman reportedly spent an estimated of $240 million of her own money towards her campaign. It's the most money ever spent on a gubernatorial campaign in the United States.
California voters rejected Proposition 19, the measure that would have made marijuana legal. As Kitty Harris reports, opponents went full force in the final days leading up to the election.
You know, and statistically, it's always been a gateway drug.
Just Say No was a message given by Californians regarding Proposition 19. This initiative would allow the legalization of marijuana use within the state.
You know what? Californians and Americans, we already have enough license. We don't need another one.
I have a right to inform other people of the dangers of marijuana because I've seen it from the inside. Do we really want California to be the drug dealer of the whole United States?
Not everyone shared the same point of view.
Current drug policy does not address drug problems. It just makes them illegal. So now, in addition to having a drug problem, you're labeled a criminal, and we throw you in jail.
For others, the deciding factor was a moral issue.
I voted my conscience.
On the ballot this year, Proposition 23 also raised eyebrows and opposition.
I believe we should repeal AB 32. AB 32 is a job killer.
California voters stood firm on their opinions.
I think it's another way to raise money.
With photojournalist Jim Smith, this is Kitty Harris, News Scene.
Even star power, from Hollywood couldn't convince voters. Celebrities such as Snoop Dogg and Sting were among those who campaigned in favor of Prop 19.
The results for California's propositions are more out than in. Out of the many possible additions, only 4 were included. Prop 19, the permittance to regulate, tax, and distribute marijuana, was rejected, along with Prop 23 and 24. 23 would have suspended our greenhouse reduction rules indefinitely, and 24 would give the businesses the green light to lower tax liability. Proposition 22 passed, prohibiting the government from taking local funds, and Prop 26 requiring a supermajority vote to increase local and state fees. And since Prop 20 passed, elected representatives will be removed from the process of establishing congressional districts and transfers.
One local congressional race gets heated. We have exclusive video of the showdown between Popedich and Filner coming up.
The San Diego community comes together to honor a fallen officer shot in the line of duty. We'll show you the full story after the break.
Excuse me.
Well, hello.
Hi. My internet connection's acting up. Do you know anything about hotspots?
You know, if you angle yourself 45 degrees to the north, your computer's Wi-Fi card will extrapolate the router signal more efficiently. Hit enter. It's going to come up with a dialog box.
Elections ran smoothly throughout the evening except one local race. The 50th congressional race heated up and turned into a shoving match at Golden Hall when the opponents came face to face. News Scene's James Smith has the exclusive story.
The electoral process was in high gear Tuesday night, and News Scene had a front row seat.
The man's a liar. Anytime he opens his mouth, we shut him up. That's what we do the rest of the night.
Democracy was in action, and while most of our attentions were focused on the governor's race and the propositions, supporters of Bob Filner and Nick Popovich were letting their voices be heard. Then passion overcame principle.
What we need to do is anytime Bob Filner opens his freaking hole, we need to shut him up.
Seemingly trying to avoid any final-minute altercation, the congressman leaves the floor only to be chased and harassed by Popovich and his supporters. According to a member of the Popovich camp, the confrontation was partially over allegations that Filner had lied about saving a woman's home from foreclosure. Despite the full court press by the former Marine gunnery sergeant, Bob Filner prevailed with 60% of the vote. In the end, the voters had their day, the contestants had their moments, and the democratic process moves on. This is Jim Smith for News Scene.
Congressman Filner issued the following statement, quote, "I am saddened that so little respect was shown to the people at Election Central who are there to celebrate our democracy. In this country, we make our voices heard by voting, not by violence and intimidation." Several attempts were made to get a response from the Popovich campaign, but our calls were not returned. Whether it was the governor's race or Proposition 19 that would have legalized marijuana in the state, students at City College had their reasons to cast a ballot on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm just focusing on school. I really like just the issues didn't really concern me either.
Everything's pretty good except for the House of Representatives are now in the Republicans' favor, but the Democrats still have the Senate.
I did vote and everything went as well as I had hoped for except for Prop 19.
Now we have Jerry Brown as governor, so hopefully he steps up and does what he has to do.
I'm glad that Jerry Brown's the governor, but I was really disappointed that the legalization of marijuana was not passed.
If they didn't vote, they can't complain.
An NBC Wall Street Journal poll in September found only 35% of 18 to 34-year-olds were enthusiastic about this election.
President Obama is on his way to India today to start his 10-day Asian trip, working to expand export markets and strengthen security cooperation. He plans to make stops in India, South Korea, and Japan. This comes after Wednesday's intense election returns. President Barack Obama spoke about losing Democratic control of the House and Republicans taking significant ground in the Senate. The president blamed the economy for the Democratic losses and acknowledges that his policies have not done enough to boost jobs.
Over the last 2 years, we've made progress, but clearly too many Americans haven't felt that progress yet, and they told us that yesterday. And as president, I take responsibility for that. We were in such a hurry to get things done that we didn't change how things got done. And I think that frustrated people.
In the months before the new Congress gets sworn in, President Obama says he wants to work with Republicans on the Bush tax cuts, extending unemployment insurances, and the issue of gays and lesbians serving openly in the military.
Friends, family, and thousands of uniformed law enforcement gathered yesterday to say goodbye to one of their own. San Diego police officer Chris Wilson suffered a fatal gunshot wound last Thursday while serving a warrant. A motorcade of over 1,000 police cars, motorcycles, and fire personnel traveled from Qualcomm Stadium to the Rock Church in Point Loma. Photojournalist Alex Miller-Pastore was there.